So I've got a few of these WCW Superstar Series videotapes downloaded, and I thought I'd watch the interview parts and give my unscripted and unfiltered opinions on what the guys say. I'm not taking notes for this one, so it's going to be a bit different. If I remember correctly, there's a few of these videos that are pure kayfabe, while others are a bit more grounded in reality. Of course, I wanted to look at a few of the kayfabe interviews, so let's check out Hollywood Hogan's tape, Why I Rule the World. I'm sure a lot of folks in the UK and Europe had these videos. I've talked about this before, but we were pretty starved of WCW VHS releases, with a certain few being widely available while others were simply nowhere to be found. These Superstar Series tapes were available to buy over here, and being the fools that we are, we bought these hoping to get our fix of WCW action. The videos aren't terrible, to be fair, but you don't get full matches, and instead you get guys like Sid, Hogan and Randy Savage talking about how great they are. So we'll check out what Hogan has to say in today's video, and I'll maybe do more of these if you guys enjoy it. Alright, let's check out Hulk Hogan's video first. He's sitting outside his mansion with his sweet Harley Davidson.
As all the nWo-ites know, I'm Hollywood Hogan.
Hello, Hollywood.
And living with Hollywood means living large. I rule the world of professional wrestling.
No, you don't.
And as you'll see, I'm going to show that one person who's been living under a rock.
That'll be me.
That Hollywood Hogan not only rules the world of wrestling, I rule the entire world.
Alright, he's very modest, isn't he? Oh, Hulk Hogan rules the entire world. What a fucking guy. When Hogan came to the ring with the Wolfpack music, that's when you knew it was over. It was done. It wasn't cool anymore.
So many fans want to know why the WCW? Why did you save it till last? Well, Hollywood...
probably for the money.
Across the continents. I went all over the world, from Madison Square Garden, Tokyo, Japan, San Francisco, and all points in between. And each...
the old Hulk Hogan time travel. Remember, Hogan adds more days to the calendar year when he travels through different time zones.
And every time I hit an arena, I made sure I left my mark. I made sure they saw the pythons and they saw them raised in victory. And finally, to put the period on the end of my legacy, the last place I had to conquer, the last place I had to rule was the WCW. The Ric Flairs, the Stingers, the Steiners, and the Lugers all had to be put to rest. That's why I saved the best, the WCW, till last. When I came to WCW, I had a plan. But what a lot of people didn't realize about Hollywood is I just don't do things. I plan things.
Politicking, brother. He's politicking. He's, what's the word? He's using his stroke. That's what he's doing.
That's why I use my stroke.
Oh, shit. He just said it. Good man. At least he's honest. At least he's honest.
I used my power. I used everything I had to make sure that timing, commitment, and intestinal fortitude all exploded at one given time. That's why my first match in the WCW was for the heavyweight title. And I knew once I got Flair down and beat him for the 1, 2, 3 count, the rest would have to come to me. And one by one, I picked them off and laid them to rest.
Now, you didn't really beat everyone one by one, did you? Because if I remember correctly, the Yeti humped you in the middle of the ring and you never got payback for that. So, yeah, this should have been WCW Superstar Series, the Yeti.
That's why the WCW shakes in fear when they hear the name Hollywood.
They say, what about...
So I'm just skipping through here, and it looks like this is just the Bash at the Beach match, the Flair and Hogan match when Hogan first won the belt. So nothing to see. Oh, Hogan looks surprised there, doesn't he? Nothing to see here, so we'll just carry on until we find the interview. There we go. We'll pick it up from here.
Some of the fans in the NWO, they say, Hollywood, how did you survive the first few wars with Flair?
Pretty sure nobody ever asked that, ever.
When I first came to the WCW, Flair gave me my toughest challenges. One by one, match by match, Flair tried to chip away at Hulkamania. But then I learned what he was all about. I watched his moves. I knew how he thought. I listened to his heartbeat. I watched him breathe.
He listened to his heartbeat and he watched him breathe. All right.
And slowly but slowly, I chipped away.
Hold on, put that back, put that back.
Breathe. And slowly but slowly, I chipped away.
Slowly but slowly. I think he meant slowly but surely. Surely. maybe.
And don't call me Shirley.
Way at this god, the WCW they had called Ric Flair. And at the end of the wars, Hollywood Hogan reigned supreme.
He's the king of Hulk.
It's the Slamboree tag match, but we do have Hogan cutting in here to talk a bit, so let's see what he says.
What you need to realize is Jimmy Hart was actually good for me. When I first got to the WCW, I needed someone I could trust, someone I could confide in, someone I could talk about strategy with.
Oh, friend!
And when we started getting on a roll, Jimmy Hart gets so close to me, I felt like I could trust him with my life. The victories came easy. The celebrations came easier. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy Hart started to change, but I didn't see it. The fans saw it, they tried to warn me, but I ignored it. And then that judgment day came, and I realized that Jimmy Hart, just like everyone else in the WCW, had a price, and he sold me out.
Lex Luger, they've all turned their...
I mean, at least he's admitting whenever someone got one over on him, you know? Usually with some of these tapes and some of these interviews, and as we've already heard from Hulk, it can be very, what's the word, just filled with self-promotion and stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, he was humbled. Hulk Hogan was fucking humbled by Jimmy Hart and the Yeti. Again, we should be watching the Superstar Series Yeti video, but let's carry on with Hulk.
You know, Hulkamania was the strongest power in the world of professional wrestling. And when I came to the WCW, I proved I was better than any of the WCW wrestlers. But the fans were loyal to the guys that have been there all through those years, the Flairs, the Stingers, the Steiners, and Lex Luger.
Yeah, he's absolutely right here. He came in and wrecked everybody, but depending on the town WCW ran, Hogan could get some pretty bad crowd reactions, and that's not revisionist history either, by the way. Just watch some Nitro shows from 95 or 96 and you can see it for yourself.
And all of a sudden, I realized that the training, the prayers, and the vitamins were cool for everyday life. But when it came to the ring, the fans didn't care about that. They were loyal to what they knew, and they couldn't accept the greater power of Hulkamania. That's when I decided to turn the tables on them. If I made a move they didn't like, who cared as long as it led me on to victory? If I made a move that beat one of their so-called established heroes, who cared as long as it led me on to victory?
Fair play, Hulk. One of the best decisions he ever made in his career. You can't fault him for that.
That led me to Bash at the Beach, when I had to prove to all the people at WCW that I felt just like they did about me.
I don't see three...
So, next is Bash at the Beach 1996. You don't get to see the whole post-match promo, unfortunately, but if you still haven't seen this by now, then I don't know what to say, really. So we already know this interview was recorded during the NWO Elite days, and we're in the middle of WCW's downward spiral. That's not depressing at all. Let's carry on.
When I decided to take over the world of professional wrestling, WCW, I decided I had to get the best guys to stand by me. I made calls on the QT. I talked all around the world, and I attracted the greatest talent.
Okay, wait up, brother. Hall and Nash, yeah, good call. But are we talking about the whole NWO here? Because I'm not so sure. I think I could have picked a few better guys than, say, Vincent.
Because where Hollywood goes, that's where professional wrestling goes.
Steve Austin would beg to differ.
And once I had my team of loyal men.
Loyal men? The NWO was probably the most disloyal faction in history. They were so disloyal that they split in two. Come on, Hollywood.
It wasn't long. The WCW was weak in the knees. Just the sight of Hollywood and his crew, the NWO, scared them to death. They fell, and they fell fast at my feet. It's not a perfect world, and there must be sacrifices. And even friendship sometimes has to be sacrificed to get what you want. And at Hog Wild, I faced one of the biggest men I'd ever seen in the ring. And at 500 pounds, 7'4", I knew I had my day's work cut out for me.
I used to love how Hogan would call Paul White the big stinky giant. I'm guessing he doesn't want to mention him by name here because Paul had already jumped ship by this point. Or maybe Hogan just forgot his name. Who knows?
But when I heard thousands of Harley Davidsons, the brothers of the road, screaming for Hollywood and NWO, I knew what I had to do. Quick, fast, I had to take him down. That was my first NWO World Heavyweight title. And on that day, on that night, I branded the belt with our logo, NWO, the order that was here forever, the New World Order.
Alright, so this is some clips from Hog Wild. Let's skip ahead.
And
A lot of people don't understand Eric Bischoff. Him and I have a common bond. We're exactly alike. You ride the horse until it drops, and then you shoot it and you eat it.
Wait. Hogan and Bischoff like to ride, shoot, and eat horses? That's quite the bond they have there.
If you're not worthy of being in NWO, we eliminate you. Eric and I have a bond. If I can't keep up, cut me out. And if he can't keep up, I'll cut him out.
So it's pretty much we'll backstab each other when the time's right, brother. I thought the NWO were all about loyalty. What happened to that? Wood from the Hood's talking out his ass, and I'm very confident I'm going to get a lot of negative comments from the 40-year-old Hulkamaniacs for this video, but I don't really care either.
Out of the ring, brother, he's as good as gold. But in the ring, he'd sell his soul to protect Hollywood and the NWO. That's what I like about him. We're exactly alike. Losing the belt to Lex Luger was one of the most embarrassing situations Hollywood's ever faced.
Oh, but you quickly rectified that little problem, didn't you, Hulkster? Some would say the whole thing ended up embarrassing Mr. Luger, but who am I to judge?
You know, without a moment's notice, they threw me in the ring. It's like asking Jack Nicholson to act without a camera, or Babe Ruth to hit a home run without a bat.
I'm pretty sure Jack Nicholson could act without a camera. It wouldn't be that hard. Babe Ruth may struggle to hit a home run without a bat, though, because, you know, he's dead.
I mean, my God, talk about an unbelievable situation. But I proved, with just a little bit of preparation, I could bury Lex Luger and take my belt back that he stole. It wasn't hard, but I guarantee you, it'll never happen again.
Hogan says it wasn't hard to bury Lex Luger. You gotta love how much of a heel this guy is, and you know what, he's right. Lex wouldn't win the world belt again, so that's a great prediction from Hollywood.
Talk about stacking the deck, Jack. Well, this stinger really makes me sick. You talk about an egotistical material person. That's Sting. He had Ted Turner, he had Schiller, he had the whole corporation in the big Eiffel Tower behind him.
I think he meant Ivory Tower there, but carry on.
He was guarded by security. Every time the NWO got on a roll, they were dropping him in the building, bringing him in the exits from all different areas of the building.
This is just like a Hollywood Nitro promo, completely delusional and making stuff up to make himself and the NWO look better. It's fine, by the way, this is a Hollywood Hogan trade and you're not watching this to get real backstage stories anyway.
It was a premeditated attack by Turner to try to get his company back.
Alright, this is going to be interesting. Let's hear Hollywood's take on Starrcade 97.
Even with a corporate push of the whole Ted Turner organization behind Sting, I knew I could beat him. The moment he came into the ring with thousands of fans on his side, the old WCW fans, I knew I had him. Just one look in his eyes, and I saw the fear of God. Just one look in his eyes, and I knew that he could never beat me. That's why I drug him through the mud. That's why I took so long torturing him. That's why I had him bow at my feet and say, yes, Hollywood, you're the man. Yes, Hollywood, you made wrestling, and please, Hollywood, don't beat me anymore.
1, 2, 3.
And right when I was about to bury the stake in his heart, I didn't calculate the final stone, the unturned stone.
Calculate the final stone, the final unturned stone. Who calculates unturned stones? What's this man talking about?
Bret the Hitman Hart was on the payroll. That's what upset the apple cart that Hollywood was about to push. But that wasn't over then. But with all the preparation and all the king's horses and all the king's men, everybody saw what happened to the Stinger again.
Until one man can take.
What? Sting beat Hollywood at Super Brawl? Why are they showing this?
Since the match started, I wonder if he's going to have anything left.
Hollywood shoved Sting during the match, and that means Hollywood got his revenge. Good job, Hulkster.
I think so.
The one thing I can say about the Macho Man is he's real consistent in the ring.
Alright, we're moving on to Randy Savage, it seems. That Sting part was a bit weird, but let's see how this plays out.
I mean, every time he's in the ring with Hollywood, he always loses. That's why I knew when I had a chance to get the WCW/NWO belt back.
Let's see that again.
To get the WCW/NWO belt back.
He got really excited there, didn't he?
That was stolen from us. I knew the Macho Man would be an easy kill. I just had to decide how much fun I was going to have with him.
Macho! You've got to be kidding!
This isn't the first time I've seen this happen. It's happened with promoters. It's happened with other wrestlers. But with the Macho Man and Kevin Nash, I saw the cancer growing. Reading their own publicity, getting too full of themselves, patting each other on the back. All added to their big mistake.
Oh yeah, nothing worse than guys patting themselves on the back and reading their own publicity. Nope, nothing worse, Mr. Hollywood.
Thinking they were larger than the sport and more powerful than Hollywood. I saw it. Mutiny on the Bounty. Hero worship. Goldberg, my hero. Not. You know, when you attack a wounded animal, after Page and Malone sabotaged Hollywood, Goldberg came along and tried to pick up the pieces. I dare you, Goldberg. When I'm healthy and on a normal day to step in the ring with Hollywood, you couldn't even lace my boots.
Goldberg couldn't lace Hogan's boots, but it has to be a good day and Hogan has to be healthy. The stars must align.
Too much, too fast, too big an ego. I've watched in the back. I see how you treat people. I see how you treat yourself.
He watched Goldberg in the back and he watched how Goldberg treats himself. What, was Billy Boy indulging in one too many chocolate bars or something? Did he treat himself to a beer and a hot dog from the concession stands? Why are you creeping on Goldberg, Hulk? That's some weird behaviour.
You're not the man people think you are, and I will prove that before I'm dead and gone.
That's a promise, Hollywood. So before Hogan leaves this earth, he must prove that Goldberg's not the man people think he is. Clock's ticking, Woody. We then see Hogan losing the championship in the Georgia Dome, so they're not shying away from showing Hogan losing throughout this tape. Hogan will try to explain why he lost before and after the clips, so I don't know. Maybe this tape should have been called WCW Superstar Excuses, Hulk Hogan. You know, I do like this about Hollywood Hogan though. I like how he just wouldn't accept defeat and he'd tell these tales about why he got beat. The dude thought he was untouchable, and in a way, he was. We've got about 20 minutes of this excellent videotape left and we're moving on to Karl Malone in DDP.
More than once I've said, where Hollywood goes, so does professional wrestling. As with the focus of the world. And at Bash at the Beach, 98, all the celebrities, all the media had their eyes on Hollywood. But I used it just for a strategic attack on Diamond Dallas Page, to build his confidence, to make him feel he was a player, so that later down the road, I could pull my down card. What a setup.
Hogan implying that there was some sort of forward thinking going on within WCW is a joke in itself. We see Hogan pin DDP at Bash at the Beach before Hulk moves on to the Jay Leno tag team match at Road Wild.
Jay Leno and DDP. You know, when I think about it, it was kind of a joke because I could have beaten either one of those guys at any time. But as I was taking care of some of the old WCW fans on the outside, breaking bones and scarring faces, Jay Leno slipped one over on my friend Eric Bischoff.
Oh, Jay Leno slipped one into Eric Bischoff, did he? Ooh.
You're going to pay for that, DDP. And Jay Leno, your day is coming too, my friend. I just might drag you behind my Harley next time I see you.
Alright, this bit's amazing. It's Hulk Hogan walking around the front of his mansion. Hear that guitar? That's the sound Hogan hears in his head 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, you know, so many people ask me, why did you retire Hollywood?
No one asked you that, but go ahead.
It was just like I told Jay Leno. I was having fun. I wanted to put the wrestling business in checkmate. I didn't retire, I was just tired. Pun on words, maybe, but I did it for a reason.
Retired, tired, pun on words, wordsmith Hollywood Hogan.
I wanted to show the wrestling business without Hollywood, they couldn't survive.
But it did survive, just not on TNT, brother.
Without Hollywood, the numbers, the ratings would pummel.
Ratings pummeled when you were there too, Hulkster, let's be honest.
Without Hollywood, the luster, the electricity would all be gone. So I proved my point. And not only did I prove my point, I also put my hat in the ringer for the presidency of the United States. Because when I run for president, I will be the first man to run this country that is also the world heavyweight champion.
Hollywood Hogan, President of the United States. I'm not one to talk about the political landscape of a country that I don't live in, but you tell me, would Hollywood Hogan be any worse or any better than recent presidents? Answers in the comments, Jack.
The whole world's a stage, and when I'm out on the water, I like to perform. So when the NWO's with me, we ride in the NWO Scarab, painted from head to toe with Hollywood. Check it out.
Okay, this boat right here was actually up for sale at one point. I can remember seeing Twitter posts and news stories about how Hollywood was selling his NWO boat. Fucking look at that thing.
The king of the world.
That was random.
This is what I call living large, brother. Earlier this year with Ric Flair as president of the WCW, life got very interesting. Oh yeah, he pushed a lot of my buttons, made me jump like a cat on a hot tin roof. But there was nothing I couldn't handle. I just had to be quicker than him and smarter than him. And I knew with the pressure, I knew with Hollywood down his throat, he wouldn't last.
With Hollywood Hogan down your throat, you won't last. Low hanging fruit, but I'll take it. I mean, I'll take the joke, not Hollywood down my throat. We then see a quick clip of Super Brawl 9, as in about 10 seconds of action.
But before that, Hogan has earned it.
I am the master of the mental game of wrestling. To maneuver people like puppets, to financially take what I want, and to creatively produce whatever I want to produce, there's nobody better.
People are going to hate it, but he's right. He can maneuver people like puppets. He did get a lot of money, and creatively, he had the right to do whatever he wanted. Deal with it, jabronis.
A main event here and a main event there for some guys, but for Hollywood, every night's a main event. Every night's a main event payoff, and every night's another trip to the bank.
Uncensored 99 clips are next, and we go to the final moments of the video.
You know, so many people say, Hollywood, why are you so cocky? Why are you so arrogant with everything you owe the wrestling business? You've got fame, you've got fortune, and a quality of life that no other wrestler ever had. Well, the way I look at it, the shoe's on the other foot, my friends. You know, I'm the one that made wrestling what it is today. When I first got in this business, there were a bunch of wrestlers traveling up and down the highway, 5 or 6 in a car for just a couple $100s a week. Real small arenas, real small venues. There wasn't a lot of money to be made. Then I hit the business. I made the scene and I changed all that. I had the big picture, a greater vision.
You know, as much as I want to butt in here and grab that low-hanging fruit again, Hogan's actually right here in many ways. I mean, yeah, the age-old argument's always, well, if it wasn't Hulk, it would have been someone else. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't someone else.
And with the merchandise, the ancillary rights, the animated cartoon series, I changed wrestling as it's known. Today, wrestling is big business because of me. I made the promoters see that a character, we could exploit that character and turn into big bucks, turn body slams into millions of dollars. And so what does wrestling owe me? They owe me more than they've already given me. They owe me the world because I gave wrestling something that nobody else could have given it. I gave it life. And wrestling will live forever because of me.
Humble as always, humble as always. The credits roll, what you gonna do, brother? The video's over. Oh, before we go, special thanks to the Booty Man and Hogan's wife. Booty Man got the credit before Linda. It's absolutely wild. And that was WCW nWo Superstar Series, Hollywood Hogan, Why I Rule the World. People actually paid for this, including myself, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this one and say it was great at the time, because really, it wasn't. It would have been around the year 2000 or maybe even 2001 before this hit store shelves over here, and by that time the vast majority of wrestling fans were way smarter. If memory serves me correctly, I think Kevin Nash's video is a bit more reality based, as is the first Sting tape, but Hogan's video here is as Hollywood can get, brother. It's not that fun to watch, and even Hogan superfans would probably want to watch something else. But again, let me know if you want more of these videos covered. I've got a few downloaded. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and take care.